Factory dwellers, well, we've got a very big show today. We're not finished with the Millennium Falcon diorama update, which just happens to be 10, but we have a hell of a show for you, hell of a show. The model itself is done. The only thing I haven't attached yet is the bottom guns, which I might do before I show it. The base is done. The lighting is done. So the only thing left now is our two TIE fighters sitting here. And that will get done next week. So we're within 2 weeks, something like that, of completing this project. And then we move on to my friend David Hedrick's trio of projects. It's sort of a Alien plus one Stargate item. You can order 3 projects in a row here at the Kit Factory, but no more. Because I won't have one person sort of taking over the whole schedule. And I've had people offer me to do 6 builds in a row, but it's just too much. You know, everybody should get a shot. One day we'll close, and if I'm still working on that person's work, well, I didn't exactly spread it out to the world or anything, which is something I like to do, thinking that long after I'm gone, maybe one family will still have a piece. So, it is, what is it? It's Friday. It's Freaky Friday. And I'm going to put on a hell of a show. Lasers, rotating gun turrets, base lighting, I mean all the goodies. The only thing I didn't put into this was sound. And if it had been specified, we could have done it. But, hey, play Star Wars behind it and you got it. So, we're going to move on to that. I do want to take a look at the TIE Fighters, which I haven't done a hell of a lot of. Somebody told me they were snap tights. And I'll take a look at it. I didn't even know that. But it doesn't mean they won't get lighted up and weathered and everything. And one of them, on that plasma panel, solar panel, whatever the hell it is going to have a corner chunked out with a starburst effect made up of liquid craziness. No. Fiber optics and some LED source and all that. And we're going to have actual bursts going on. And that should be really cool. It's something I've done before a long time ago. And in this case, I think it'll be very applicable. And the lasers will be striking. One beam will be missing, and one will be hitting that particular point. Now that I've got everything configured and on the base and all that, the last 2 things I got to install is the 2 retainer rods, the 2 TIE fighters, and align that laser to hit it. Now I've got this thing on what's called a circular cradle, which is sort of a triangle thing, and I'll show you that. All hand built, all perfected to fit that one portion in the ship. And I'll tell you, when I get my gander up, it better be damn perfect. And it was. I did that last weekend, and I must have taken 12, 13 hours to get it just right. And I have these huge bins of scrounge parts, model parts, hardware, and I found the perfect parts for the whole thing, and I'm so pleased. Now, a few of them, brass plates, had to be banged out and done. I'm not a classified metallurgist, but I grew up with my grandfather who was. And he showed me a lot about, right down from the whole major end of it all the way to blacksmithing. And one thing I can do is bang out a part if it don't exist. That's with resin or metal. And I'll tell you, Grandpa, thank you for teaching me that. I must have been 6 years old, and I already knew how to shape parts and temper and all that stuff. So, thank you, Grandpa, wherever you are. So now the Millennium Falcon is done. We're going to show you the base, the Millennium Falcon, how we got it together, blah, 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 and a lot of nice darkroom shots. We're going to take a look at the TIE Fighter kits, and then I don't know exactly what. I know. I mean, I haven't had a whole lot of material. I haven't spent a whole lot of money on toys, although I wish I could. But we are going to Wonderfest. Steve and I, we got it all locked down. The room's booked, blah, blah, blah. Unless the plane crashes, we're going to be there. And I'm saving a few bucks because I'm sure something at freaking Wonderfest is going to catch my eye. I also really wish I could have brought the Klingon bird of prey. Although I imagine at a show of that stature, it wouldn't have been the best thing there. But I would have loved to have shown it. But the logistics and considering the fact that it's fragile, it's heavy, and every other damn thing, if it arrived there damaged, I'd just lose it. And I'm still trying to sell it. So, hauling a $50,000 piece around is a little risque. But, yeah, I would have loved to show it. I'm sure some people would have appreciated it. But, yeah, we're going. And I know I heard Friday night there's a party. Well, I'll show up, and then I think the professor wants to show up. Although I'm sure half will greet me, half will stone me. So I'll be wearing a flak vest and a helmet. So I guess that's about it. There might be a funny on the end of this, or like I've been doing, showing you the retro funnies from way back. There's so many that I don't think many saw that are really good. In my book, I mean, I can look at it as a third party, like I didn't make it, and say, does this suck or what? And the ones I do show you that are comebacks or retro from earlier days, I find particularly funny. If you watch my show, you've subscribed on YouTube or whatever, maybe you share my insane sense of reality and comedy, so you might enjoy them too. So now, let me see. Let's take a look on the on the Millennium Falcon sitting on the table. Just show a few things, but I'll wait till the lighting until we actually mount it on the stand. And then I think you're going to enjoy the show a lot. So this is Millennium Falcon diorama update number 10. And I'm glad you're here because this is a cool one. Moving on. Alright, the very last thing left on this project is the 2 TIE Fighter kits. Now, I was told this was a snap together. And of course, when I ordered it, I had no idea. But if it is, ain't no problem. You can glue these together too. It looks beautifully detailed. It is a Bondi. And I wonder, are all the Bondi kits snappers? I mean, because if they are, I mean, that probably simplified for a lot of guys that just don't want to get down and dirty. But I'm actually surprised to hear that. So, let me see. I want to see if they really are snappers. That's what we call them, snappers. Yes. And, let me see here. Oh, yeah, it sure looks like they are. I see the lock mechanism there. I'll be damned. However, even if it's a snap kit, there's certain components that should be glued, especially like I'm putting in wiring and lighting in there. So I don't want any gaps whatsoever. And snappers tend to have gaps and light leaks. So this will probably be mostly assembled as a non-snap kit. But it sure looks that way. I'll be darned. Yeah. Although I'm not totally sure. But it looks that way. Once I get into it, I'll confirm that. But I don't see any glue indication of the requirement of glue. But it's a beautiful little kit. I mean, the etching detail on it is really nice. And they seem to have all the parts covered. I mean, there's a multi-layer cabin. And sure enough, and the cabin will have lighting. It'll be mostly a red color with some instrument lighting, absolutely. And the base will not be used, sandy beach base. I'll use that for something else. Like a very tiny, like one of those vehicles those little guys ran around on, still robots. I can't remember what it's called. A walker, a thingy, I don't know. It would be about this big. Could be done. I saw a guy do Millennium Falcon like that big. Absolutely incredible work, man. My hat's off to you, sir. That was well done. Not a lot to show until it's assembled. But they're not hard kits or anything. They even have decals. And like I said, the Millennium also has a set of aftermarket decals I'm going to put on. That's not done yet. I'll wait till the end. Nice. And in this case, I might put the pilot in. I didn't put the pilot in to the Millennium Falcon because there's so much detail in there that I don't want any larger object to block your vision of it. So consider they're in the bathroom. They have a men's, aliens, and ladies. Hey. That was bad. We're moving on. And next week I'll be building the two of them up. No, not at the same time. I don't like building two kits at once. If I could do that, the projects wouldn't go out even as slow as they do now. They go out slower. And the confusion factor for me is something I don't enjoy. I like to put all my effort into one kit. I know a lot of people out there build more than one, especially builders for hire. Yeah, if you can do it, great. But I really believe you don't get 100% out of the project if you're concentrating on more than one. That's my personal belief. I mean, maybe somebody has that ability. A younger guy, maybe bam, 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 and everyone's terrific. And I hope so. But I can never do that. And in these later years of mine, one at a time, bro, or the brain fries. And I got to go into like stupor for 3 or 4 days. And that's not good. So there's a look at that. So that's our two next things. We're going to add it. We're going to have black rods as thin as possible to lie wiring in, to be discreet. Because on the base so far, I've pretty much hidden everything. I don't want those to be super obvious. I mean, we could do an L and go to the back. But that has certain problematic things. And at some point, you do see a rod. So what's the point? Unless it was going to a rear wall thing. That starts to turn into a much bigger project. Anyway, so let's move on from here. Yes. All right, so here's our Millennium Falcon puppy. Gorgeous in a nasty way, because it is a garbage scow look. A lot of work went into this. Every time I said the top hull was done, I'd go back and do more. I just wanted this one to be really nice. This is going to Robert Kennedy, probably my best client. This guy has ordered some serious projects. I'm sure that he's appreciated. I know he loves them. And this one was for him. And after all the business he sent me, he got something really special. So let me give you a look here. The guns and the radar dish have been installed. Now, they don't move or anything like that. This is not a toy, okay? This is a display. The only thing I haven't done yet is the gun on the bottom, and there are a few decals, and I choose to do those right at the end, because if you touch them, sometimes they rip right off. And by the way, anybody that's noticed my voice is bad, I had my lungs checked, everything's great. What it is the pollen count here is like 1 billion times over normal, and I have hay fever. So it's clogging me up real bad. So everybody that's writing me off, oh, he's going to die of cancer in 6 months. No. And I've cut down my smoking dramatically. So that's why I sound the way I have for the last few films. There is enough pollen here to build a pollen man out of. Okay? And anybody else that lives in Florida will verify that. So before I show it all, lighted up and glorious, this is the components of it. There are 2 power wires behind. One is strictly for the laser, and one is for all the other functions. There are lighted panels, rotating guns, and this is the assembly I came up with, which is, not to brag or anything, but it's a little engineering marvel. Really is. Now, let me see on my little screen here. Oh, geez. Is that flipped? Oh, here we go. Little screen, if you don't go all the way, it's upside down, which is bad enough with the left and right thing I deal with. So the forward calipers are painted the same gray as the Millennium to help blending. It kind of looks like a sextant. Now the actual airlock section fits right in here for a lock. The angle is what I wanted, and this was all done with hardware. And you'd be surprised how long it took to do this. This part is the one that was banged out. This does not exist. I got a straight plate, and I manipulated that metal and heated it up and really got it really cool. And everything works, locks. It's very secure. I'm very proud of this portion. Now, the two cords that are sticking out from the electronic assembly are just the right length to fit into the housing and hide behind the gun tower. It wasn't luck, it was all pre-planned. And that is basically the way that goes. The base was made out of a very high-grade wood. The 3 buttons are on the side here. And it's a beautiful thing. Again, this is one I wouldn't mind keeping for myself if I had the room. There may be a little bit more detailing on the base and all that, but I basically want it to be a neutral sort of gray-black background to the highly colorful Millennium. I don't want the base to be the highlight. I want the ships to be the highlight. But it still looks pretty cool, and the guns are rad. Let's move on. Alright, so here's our display. Pretty wild. The gun turret's here, some lighting segments in there, and of course the tiles, which by the way we now produce as a kit. There are 6 tile kits, 18 tile kits, and they're really nice. And I can only vouch for their quality since I actually used them in a display. I suppose we need to get an ad together and show the packets. You can interchange. We'll have to list every tile so you can pick the ones you want. I know the semicircles can be opposite or together, and they look very cool. I chose to go with a straight bar with the curve. You can do all kinds of designs. They are really neat. And the cannons are super. I did find a few tweaks in them to make them run better, and I'll be passing those on to Ed. We haven't spoken in a few days. I hope he's okay. And on a weird note, the storage unit where Rodrigo's storing the other Millennium Falcon project got broke into last night. So Rodrigo, I suggest you call their office and make sure the Millennium Falcon you paid for is still sitting there. Or else you're going to collect insurance from them. But I sure hope not. That would suck. Alright, so first of all, in the light, then I'll show you in the dark. Power up, which powers up the lighting in the base and the Millennium, which you're probably not going to see real well right there. The turrets, and they do make a gear noise, which is kind of cool. And then the lasers, which you won't see here, but I will show you with the FX mode. Isn't that cool? Now that's a toy if I ever saw one. I had a lot of fun making this, although there was some moments I thought I'd lose my mind. So now let's turn off the light. And I won't break the spell as you're staring at my handiwork. Bam! And I will show the underside as well, because all that light isn't from the exterior. That's the Millennium projecting all that rear light. It's crazy. So bright. Alright. And here's one of our cannons. Old Chirpy. Notice the guns elevate. Same deal on that one. And what I did, there's some red coloration there. This one, being that tunnel they were aiming for, has a bunch of quivering or fluttering LEDs to give the impression of a power output. And yet another red one. I used the segments that were cleared out in the resin as good lighting potential points. And of course the Millennium on this side. Keep adjusting here, guys. I'm trying to do better. Steve the cameraman are going out tonight for another boy night. Probably going to go to the Roadhouse or some other place he was talking about. And there's those twirling. Like I said, you're just not seeing the motion the way the camera frame rate is. Unfortunately. There's our gun emplacement. And of course, all the little goodies inside those open apertures. And you know what? I was looking at some actual prop pictures. Now, the model kit provided pictures show it all gray. But I actually saw a clip or a snapshot of one of the bottom recesses, and sure enough, like I said, they were blackened and had some high points. I don't know about the lighting, but I think I saw 2-3 points of light, and I saw it blackened with some metal details. I think my memory on that, my lost memory or my subconscious memory, definitely picked up on that. I'm not saying it's that way throughout, but this one aperture certainly was, and I wish I'd have kept the shot. Maybe I'll find it and show it to you. So now, let's try it in the dark, and I know you guys are going, oh yeah, because I sure am. Alright, so here we go. Not a bad little light display, and this is actually the dim side. This is the dark side of the moon. Dark side. As usual, there's our Falcon with all its nifty effects. Love the cabin came out. Cabin came out real good. I was doing good till there. There's the engine effect. All the extra lighting. And yeah, look at that. Isn't that cool? Some base lighting. Guns rotating. Let me change the view. Working on it. Okay, this is the rear view where you see the motor and some of the lighting underneath. Pretty cool. I love the way the motor went, and I doubt, although I'm not saying it's not, that any other of these Millennium Falcon kits had the actual detailed parts scaled down from the actual ILM model that was used in the film. That gives this kit a heck of a lot of pedigree, and I'm proud that my friend got it to me, Mr. Reed, and thank you for making that happen. That really makes the kit that much more interesting. The fact that those are absolutely accurate movie quality parts. Just astounding to me. Sorry, had to do that. Alright, moving on to the bottom. Now, of course, the bottom is what you don't see, however, it is there. The cradle does not occupy a heck of a lot of space. It was engineered not to block as much as possible. And it is all there. All the spotlights, which are ultra brights, obviously. All the red lights. Even that gun pod. Even though I could have said, well, it won't be seen or any of that nonsense. It's fully detailed just like the upper one. And because of the way the cords are hidden back there, Robert can detach the cords and go around the house going, zoom, zoom. Which, of course, is always a very nice feature. There's our airlocks, engines. I mean, this thing is just the bomb. And no matter which direction you look in, other than that support section, it's all model. It's all model. And there's our controls. Power, options on the base, and then the lasers, which is what we're going to show next. Now, remember, it's not completed yet. It's almost there. Towards the front here, in front of these cannons and the Millennium itself, will be 2 TIE fighters on the run with 1 damaged. So let's give a little demo of the laser and we'll wrap up the film. Do you remember that the TIE fighters will be in the front and the beams will be aligned? That's why I have a cradle that rotates partially to align the beams. And then I'm going to do a little personal video for my friend Robert, so we can see exactly how it's done. It's called an installation video, and it's a one-shot video only for that particular person to see in assembly, rather than have me handwrite it or try to illustrate it. Hey, picture's worth 1,000 words, and a film is worth 1,000,000. So now let's take a look. You've seen what activates what. Now there's a momentary switch that actually activates the lasers. And I'll put a little fantasy smoke there, although you don't need quite that much. And there you go. How's that look? Huh? Not terrible, huh? Very nicely aligned. And we'll be striking that nasty little TIE fighter. Hope you liked it. Hope you enjoyed the film. This is Papa Smurf signing off. See ya!